All right, welcome back. We have 7 games on the board for tonight, and we have 6 games on the board for tomorrow. That's right there. I'll be doing the preview for tomorrow's games right after the review for tonight's games goes up, and then the power rankings go up after that. So I'll take one last look at the power rankings board and any adjustments I feel need to be made for Saturday night, and then we'll do the power rankings. But first, we got to get to tonight's games. And first off, we've got Tampa Bay in against Carolina, and this was a battle to see who's the top team in the Central. So while Florida's still in this conversation, Carolina and Tampa have this direct battle tonight that really feels like it's for first place, because it kind of sort of is. And the Bolts came in looking like they wanted to assert themselves as being the best in the league, which many have seen them as being for most of the season. They get a power play early in the first minute, actually. It ends up with 1 shot, no goals. However, it does generate some momentum, and Coleman would score from Ruda at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So that makes it 1-0. Tampa, not done with that. Maroon, he scores from Colton at 5:41. That makes it 2-0. And right there, you're looking at it and going, well, Reimer failed to cover that one. That's one that Reimer's probably going to be, kicking himself for. And it just doesn't feel like this game's going Carolina's way at all. In fact, Tampa Bay gets the second power play. That's killed off. And it's a good thing Carolina's penalty kill was very good tonight, because if not, this game probably goes the other way. The Canes then pressed at the halfway mark. We get a power play for the Canes at that stage. That's killed off. NSH-CHI was robbed in close by Vasilevsky. Last minute, there was a chance for Stamkos, which was stopped. And Maroon ran over Shea at the horn. Decided I'd gonna end Shea. It's the end of that. Second period, early on, Paquette scores from NSH-CHI and Pesce at 2:24, and that was during a delayed penalty. So that's one of those plays that can happen. It doesn't count as a power play goal, but it kind of sort of is. And then Aho would score about a minute later from Niederreiter and NSH-CHI at 3 minutes and 26 seconds. NSH-CHI had an excellent game. He was being robbed right, left, and center. It could have been much, much better for him than what it was. The Canes then get a power play. We end up with 17 seconds of 4-on-4 before it becomes Tampa Bay's power play, and a very aggressive penalty kill for the Canes leads to NSH-CHI getting a chance. There was a shorthanded chance for Foegele as well. And after that power play ended, NSH-CHI ends up hitting the post. The Canes are in total control. The Canes then get another power play. So there were a lot of power plays in this game. NSH-CHI would score during that one from Aho and Svechnikov at 15:44. Makes it 3-2. Suddenly it's 3-2 in favor of Carolina. First period was the Tampa show. Second period's all Carolina. And Reimer was agitated by Coleman not too long after that. So we go to the third period. First minute, Joseph scores from Maroon at 22 seconds. Absolutely roofed it. Beautiful goal by Joseph. Ties the game up. Wide open. Chances both ways in that third period. The Canes get a power play. That was killed off. Aho ends up getting a chance. The Bolts were forced to ice it. So this is where we're at, where the Canes are kind of in control. The shots were 6-2 in favor of the Canes at 8 minutes. The only goal, of course, belonging to Tampa, but Carolina not frustrated by that. Killorn then drilled Martinook, and the Canes get a power play out of it. It's unsuccessful, but with 4:21 left, the Canes get another power play. So it was not a game that was featuring two top teams that were abiding by the rules so well, shall we say. NSH-CHI scores on that power play from Hamilton and Stahl at 16:07. With that assist, Hamilton is at a 14 game point scoring streak. So very good streak going for him. Tampa Bay then gets another power play. They don't score on it. They pulled the goalie with 50 seconds left. Nothing happening. Carolina wins this one 4-3. They go to 23-7-3. And for Tampa, they're 24-8-2. So with that win, Carolina's now 1 point behind Tampa for that first place bump. And the difference between finishing first and second in the Central is huge. You're either going to play Florida or you're going to play maybe Chicago, maybe Nashville, right? The shots in this one, 12-11 Carolina in the first, 14-7 Carolina in the second, 14-4 Carolina in the third. The final shots, 40-22 for the Canes. Power plays, Tampa goes 0 for 4, Carolina goes 1 for 6. Vasilevsky, 36 saves on 40 shots. At the other end, Reimer, 19 saves on 22. And again, he failed to cover that one that led to the Maroon goal. And, you know, he had his shaky moments, but in the end, they end up winning the game. So there you go. Pretty big win for Carolina. Next up, the Oilers. This was a fun game to watch as somebody who cheers neither for the Oilers nor for the Maple Leafs. This was just a fun game. The shots were only 1-0 for the Leafs at 4 minutes. Both teams kind of slow out of the gate. The Oilers, their top guns were being stifled early. It wouldn't stay that way. Smith stops a good chance for Tavares. I thought Tavares had a decent game. The Leafs press at 6.5 minutes. Smith held during that. Then we get a break because some glass broke and they had to replace it. Engvall nearly gets one. The Leafs were pressing. McDavid to Draisaitl, that was broken up. The Oilers press with 7 minutes left, and they're getting chances, but Marner is denied. So we come out of the first period, and it's scoreless. And Toronto controlled a lot of that first period. So the Oilers probably feeling a little bit fortunate. And in the second period, they paid back their goaltender. Not early, though. The Leafs were being blocked out from the net until Engvall gets one at 4:14. Matthews and Marner with the assists. Draisaitl then almost answered on the next shift, but the Oilers would answer. It's Darnell Nurse from McDavid and Draisaitl at 6:47. It was a nice fast break goal for the Oilers. Matthews tries to answer, ends up hitting the post. He is one of the league champions at hitting the post. The Oilers then get a power play. That's killed off. However, Draisaitl would score from McDavid and Barrie at 14:05. So the Oilers now with the lead. Smith then stopped another chance for Matthews. So Matthews had opportunities. He's had opportunities throughout his slump. They just weren't going in. And then Tyson Barrie, he scores from Draisaitl at 18:06. So Barrie with a goal and an assist in that second period. Draisaitl with 3 points. And the Oilers are up 3-1 after 2. So third period, all they got to do is just bring it home. And it looked like they were going to do that too. Smith stopped a chance from Kerfoot. There was a power play for the Leafs. Tavares ends up hitting the post during that. The power play's killed off. The Oilers then pressed at 9 minutes. Again, they're up 3-1. They're pressing in the other zone at 9 minutes. You should be able to hold that lead. But wait. Tavares gets his 10th of the year from Galchenyuk and Nylander at 12:21. Don't look now. Galchenyuk has been a pretty decent pickup for the Leafs. McDavid then tried to answer. He was stifled by Campbell. And then Nylander would score from Hall and Galchenyuk at 16:38. That ties the game at 3. And totally threw likely Oiler fans into fits because this should have been a 3-1 win. They should have been able to bring that home kind of thing, right? Matthews was then denied after that. The Oilers had a 2-on-1. Campbell made the save on that. We go to overtime. In overtime, Campbell had to make the first stop. The puck goes the other way. And on a double deflection, they're not all pretty, but it went in. Matthews with the goal. Riley with the assist at 54 seconds. The Leafs win this one in overtime. They go to 22-10-2. And for the Oilers, they now become the 31st team to get an extra time point. As in they get the overtime loss point tonight. They go to 21-13-1. So there's nobody with a 0 anymore in the third column. Shots, 10-4 Toronto in the first, 10 apiece in the second, 10-5 Toronto in the third. In the overtime, both teams had one shot. Final shots 31-20 in favor of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Power plays Edmonton 0-1, Toronto 0-2. Smith saved 27 out of 31, and Campbell saved 17 out of 20 at the other end. So, pretty fun game. Just, again, as somebody who's neutral on it, and not with any particular allegiance one way or the other. And looking forward to the next matchup. Next up, last one on this board is the Islanders and the Penguins. And this went pretty much the opposite way to what I thought it would. And this is an example of how shots on goal don't tell you the story of every game. The Islanders, they pressed at 3 minutes. They pressed too aggressively. They get a goaltender interference penalty, so the Penguins go to the power play. An aggressive penalty kill by the Islanders. No shots on Pittsburgh's power play. And then Frederick Gaudreau on the first shot Pittsburgh got on net. They get a goal from Lafferty and Sevier at 5:48. And then they don't get another shot until 10:07. And I know that's their second shot because it's their second goal. Rodriguez with that one from McCann and Ceci. And even though they were being outshot, the idea was Pittsburgh was much better at the shot selection part of it than the Islanders necessarily were early. So while they were being outshot, they were not being outplayed. Bellows then with a shot that was caught by Jarry. Tristan Jarry had a good game. The Islanders, they get a power play. That's killed off. In the last minute, the Islanders get another power play. So they had their opportunities tonight, but they're down 2-0 after one period. Second period, post for the Islanders power play, and then the rest of it's killed off. Sorokin stopped an Aston Reese shot. I'm kind of tracking when Sorokin stopped some pucks tonight. Didn't happen enough. The Penguins then go to the power play, and they score. And it's Crosby from Gensel and Letang at 4:26. And then they get another power play. So, as a general rule, if you have a goaltender that's struggling at all, he's probably going to have a hard time with a Pittsburgh power play when it works. Pittsburgh's power play has always really got a poor power play percentage compared to what it should. When you look at that first unit, wow. And it scores the second time as well. Rust from Crosby and McCann at 6:18. And at this stage, Sorokin basically looked over. Like, Sorokin basically, I'm ready to come out. So he's out. Varlamov goes in. And then Rust welcomes him to the game at 8:21 with a goal from Letang and Gensel, and that was after an Islanders turnover. It is 5-0 in favor of Pittsburgh. This is a very non-Islander-esque game going on here. Barzal, however, would score at 10:47 to make it 5-1. Aston Reese, he almost got one in that second half of the period, but the rest of the period was largely uneventful. Third period, slow start. Penguins were definitely trapping to win in that third period, and they were up by 4. Crosby's line gets a chance, but then Beauvillier continues this hot run that he's apparently on now from Barzal and Leddy at 5:23. The Islanders then get a power play, so this is where you're like, okay, so Pittsburgh should win this. The Penguins get a power play after they kill that one off. The goaltender gets pulled with 3 minutes left, and the Islanders score with the extra man. Eberle from Nelson and Bailey at 17:33. And that makes it 5-3. But they pull the goalie again, of course. Rust hits the empty net at 19:18, and your final score is 6-3. So they make it kind of interesting, but in the end, Pittsburgh wins. They go to 22-11-2. The Islanders drop to 22-9-4. Shots, 9-4 Islanders in the first, 14-13 Pittsburgh in the second, and in the third, 10-3 Islanders. Final shots, 32-21 for the Islanders. Both teams had 4 power plays. The Islanders scored 0. Pittsburgh scored 2. Sorokin saved 5 out of 9, and then Varlamov saved 10 out of 11. SJ-ARI saved 29 out of 32 at the Pittsburgh end. And now, I need to change boards. All right, next up, Nashville and Chicago. I have been saying for a while, it's been weeks, look out for Nashville. Look out for Nashville. They're right on the doorstep. They now have 35 points. Chicago has 37. They're right there. They're right there. I know they don't have games in hand or anything, but they do have 17 wins. So let's go through this. Murphy has a shot that deflects in the corner in the first period. The Hawks pressed. Kane looked pretty good early on, but at 5 minutes and 10 seconds, the first shot for Nashville goes in. It's Johansson from Arvidsson and Tolvanen. So at 5:10, that gets Nashville started, and off they go. They were pushing for another. In fact, the shots were 6-1 in their favor 9 minutes into this game. Power play then for the Hawks, and Doc had a chance because, yes, Kirby Doc is back, and I thought he looked decent for Chicago tonight. I did. So, yeah, he had chances tonight. Carpenter had a shot that went wide. Carrier denied Doc an easy one. Doc was right in front of the net. If that had got to him, it's in the net, but Carrier makes sure it doesn't get there. Last minute denial by Lankinen keeps it a 1-goal game. So we go to the second. In the first minute, the Hawks get a power play. That led to a shorthanded chance for Haula. The Hawks had a 2-on-1, which was broken up by Trennan. And then they make it 2-0. So Grimaldi stays red hot from Cunnin at 12:58. So that's 5 goals in 2 games for Grimaldi. And then Suter keeps it close. Pius Suter scores from Kane and Boqvist at 17:33. So coming out of the second period, it's 2-1. And again, Chicago's at home. You kind of understand, that they should be able to, push for the tie. But instead, 51 seconds into the third period, Granlund scores from Cunnin. It was a beautiful play by Cunnin. It was the second assist of the game. And at 51 seconds, it's 3-1 in favor of Nashville. Janmark then nearly answered. Lankinen saved a pretty good chance for Johansson. Puck went off of DeHaan, almost an own goal. Lankinen also knocked that one over top of the net. I think that would have gone in. Hawks press, no give by the Preds. There was no like clear-cut shots being given up if they were from outside. Goal line saved then by Saros. It was going in and he just knocked it off the goal line like it's no big thing. Goaltender gets pulled with 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. They would also call a timeout with 2 minutes left. But Nashville wins this. They win 3-1. They're now 17-17-1. This is one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Chicago 16-14-5. They won those games over Florida, but now they need to beat the team that's chasing them down. And it looks like Nashville's done a pretty good job of chasing them down. They outshoot Chicago 15-6 in the first, 15-11 in the second. Then Chicago outshoots Nashville 13-4 in the third. Final shots 34-30 for Nashville. Power plays, Nashville had none. Chicago had 2. Saros 29 saves on 30 shots. Lankinen 31 saves on 34 shots. And yeah, this is a big win for Nashville. If they can replicate this tomorrow, that division, it may very well be that Nashville gets that 4th spot. And if they fight their way, if they fight tooth and nail into that 4th spot, does that make them a harder out in the first round? And we've seen that with the playoffs before, where a team will just charge its way into a playoff spot, and then in that first round, they still have that momentum, they still have that energy. Could Nashville be that team again? Could it happen? All right, moving along. You guys can answer, of course, but Dallas does it again. And I mean, I've been looking for a record that's, 10-10-10. I didn't get that. I might get 11-11-11. So they were wearing the Rave jerseys, and I was watching the Florida feed, and he referred to them as the reverse retros, and the jersey nerd in me was like, they're not the reverse retros. It's not. And I kept waiting for him to apologize to Stars fans everywhere, all 10 of us, and they were watching that broadcast. And I never heard the apology for misreferring to the Rave jerseys. And they're not even Rave jerseys. That's the funny thing. I call them the Rave jerseys because of the bright green on them. Anyways, Verhaeghe scores on the first shot from Achari at 24 seconds. So that takes the start shot out of the game for you. However, at 8:01, Gurianov ties it up. Ben and Hanley with the assists. So Gurianov gets off the schneid. Ben gets a helper. A lot of things you're looking for as a Dallas fan here. Hudobin then denied Declare, and then the Stars were pressing, and they're rewarded for it. Klingberg scores from Lindell and Fox at 9:57, so 2 goals in less than 2 minutes. Not too shabby. The Panthers then get a power play, and they score on it. At 17 minutes, it's Verhaeghe on the power play from Achari and Tippett. So Verhaeghe, power play goal, 5-on-5 goal. What's remaining? We'll get to it. Second period, Panthers get an early power play. That was a no. The chances for the Panthers happened around the 6-minute mark as well. They were definitely getting opportunities. There was a fast break after a fast break after fast break. And you could see it was giving the Stars fits. Just that speed of the Panthers is so hard to contain. Stars not getting shots either at that stage of the period. Power play then for the Stars. And during the power play, there's a shorthanded goal for Carter Verhaeghe at 17:40. So he gets a power play goal, a shorthanded goal, and a 5-on-5 goal. Now people are going to be like, where's the penalty shot in the empty netter? Pff, amateur. Look, I know. I'm just saying that's it. 3-2. There will be a lot that don't know what. I'm talking about the 5 goals, 5 ways. Marion Lemieux. If you have to explain it, Shannon. All right. And then in the third period, early, 3 minutes, L'Esperance. And I still think his name sounds like the make of a Buick. But L'Esperance gets the goal from Hanley. This is the Buick L'Esperance. It's a little roomier than the other cars. It seats 5 in the front. But yeah, L'Esperance gets a goal. And I thought that was kind of an iffy goal. So Bobrovsky definitely needs to stop that. Didn't. The Panthers then tried to answer. The Stars got a chance on a turnover. Bobrovsky denied Alexiak. So the rest of that period, Bobrovsky was really solid. The Stars get a power play. That's killed off. The shots were 10-3 for the Stars with 7 minutes left. So they definitely had their share of opportunities. Achari was then shaken up. He took a puck to the, in this part of the head here. So yeah, that was not fun. I think he stayed in the game though. Panthers had a 3-on-1 that misfired. Then there's a last-minute series of chances for the Stars, but we go to overtime. And as soon as it's overtime, I kind of just look around and go, all right, so they lost. Then they showed like they're 2-8 in overtime, and I'm like, yeah, I know the record, I know. Puck control for the Panthers early. Huberdeau had a chance, it was stopped. They then had a 3-on-1 which misfired again. That was the second 3-on-1 they had that misfired late in the game. Then the Panthers scored. Ekblad had a goal. They all celebrated. And then they went, wait, we're reviewing it for offside. So they review it, and they go, yep, it's offside. And Dallas must have sat on that bench and said, that doesn't seem very nice, does it? Hey, get Ekblad back out on the ice. Ekblad gets the winner at 4 minutes and 50 seconds, so 10 seconds before a shootout. Huberdeau and Verhaeghe with the assists, so Verhaeghe with 3 goals and an assist. And yeah, 4-3 win for Florida, and they go to 21-9-4, and Dallas drops to 11-11-9. They've now won 11 out of 31 games. Shots were 9-8 Florida in the first, 11-8 Florida in the second. Dallas outshoots them 11-4 in the third, and in overtime outshot them 6-3. So Bobrovsky excellent in the overtime. Final shots 33-27 for Dallas. Power plays 1 for 3 for Florida, 0 for 3 for Dallas. Bobrovsky saves 30 out of 33, and Hudobin saves 23 out of 27. So there you go. That's the end of Dallas for another night. Again, if they get 2 more overtime loss points, then they're 11-11-11. I like it. It's not going to happen, is it? No. All right, next up, Winnipeg and Calgary. So the Flames tonight, I don't know if this is going to be a pattern. I don't know if this is a sign things are going to get better. But at least for tonight, Calgary showed that desperate hockey that we've been waiting for from Calgary since they started to fall. And this, to me, is the first time that we've really seen this team play the way that they're expected to under Daryl Sutter. So you still have the defensive aspect where they play well, but the offense is there as well. There's also the real reality, too, that for Winnipeg, it's a long road trip. So, I mean, it's not an excuse that you want to use, but, I mean, it's possible the team was a little bit more tired. It's possible Calgary takes advantage, and you know what? That's absolutely well within their rights. And so, Calgary, let's go through it. It was Riddick versus Brisebois. Brisebois has become a question mark again. Let's go through this. Backlund had a chance early on a turnover. That's saved. Things get scrummy early. These teams really don't like each other. And the Flames really needed to win this game. So it's understandable they came out with a chip on their shoulder. Both goalies were sharp in the first half. Flames press with 9 minutes left. And then late in the period, it's Josh Levo. You're welcome, Calgary. From Vancouver, Monahan and Gaudreau with the assists at 17-13. And then with 2:15 left, the Flames get a power play. Giordano scores from Gaudreau and Lindholm at 19-14. So Johnny Gaudreau with a couple of assists in the first period, and Calgary comes out of that first with a 2-0 lead. Second period, early, first minute, 34 seconds, Appleton from Kopp. So this is what Winnipeg does. They get outplayed and then goal, and it's just that's how that works. The Flames press, they get a power play. The Jets killed that off. The Flames pressured after that, but then Logan Stanley would get his first goal, and his celebration caused me to laugh out loud. Pretty good. From Connor and Thompson, 6:19. F-bomb and rights. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's how you celebrate your first goal. And then they showed the replay, and you can still clearly hear it on the audio. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So, yeah, it's not the garbled speak we saw during the bubble. I guess you're allowed to swear when you're, I guess in the bubble, you're just not allowed. They're in a bubble. We can't let them swear. So, so that tied up the game. Lindholm net out of fast break that's turned aside. The Jets get a power play. Riddick stopped a good chance for Scheifele. Dangerous power play, but it only had 2 shots. Pullman then hits the post. The Jets get another power play. That was killed off. That was the end of their power plays in the game as well. So we go to the third. It's tied, but in the first minute, Calgary, they won up the Jets. Mangiapane scores from Hanifin and Tanev at 49 seconds. And in that case, Brisebois let one go underneath the pad. And it wasn't great. Wasn't a great goal. And of course, if you're watching this, you're thinking, Hellebuck probably saves that, right? So the next Mangiapane shot was stopped. Riddick denied Connor. And then Bourgeois stopped Mangiapane again. And then it happened. And I've got right here, Ouchtown population Bourgeois. Bennett gets credited with a goal. The puck was going wide. And for some reason, Bourgeois decided, I'm going to handle this. And he puts it in his own net. He just put it off his goal stick into it was going wide. He puts it in. Nordstrom and Backlund with the assists on that goal at 7:48. Bennett will take it. It's been a while since he had a goal, so he'll take it. And that made it 4-2. Jets pulled the goalie with 3.5 minutes left. Bold move on their part. Connor was denied while Riddick was without his stick. That's about as close as the Jets get. They had some opportunities, but they lose this one 4-2. They drop to 21-12-2. Calgary goes to 16-17-3. So the Flames win this game tonight over Winnipeg. The Shots favored Calgary in the first 16-7, 9-7 Winnipeg in the second. Calgary outshoots them 10-7 in the third, outshoot them overall 33-23. This is a desperate victory Calgary needed. Again, Montreal's got a lot of games in hand on the teams that are chasing them, and both Calgary and Vancouver need to win some games to put more pressure on them. Power plays, Winnipeg 0-2, Calgary 1-2. Bourgeois 29 saves on 33 shots. Riddick 21 saves on 23 shots. And again, Bourgeois, that was a brutal third period for him. He's had a pretty good season, but that's reminiscent of some of last year's play, and you don't want to be out there doing that. So anyways, we'll see if he bounces back the next time he takes the net. Last game of the night, Arizona. Thank you. They wore the Space Coyote. They won wearing this jersey, and now I can wear it for the review. And it's wonderful. It's everything I had ever wanted in a review jersey. So yeah, the Space Coyote was in force tonight. Not a lot of reverse retros beyond the matinee games today, right? So think about it. Carolina was wearing their thirds. Pittsburgh was wearing their yellow thirds. No, the only reverse retro tonight was Arizona. Thank God they finally won wearing it. 3-on-2 was broken up early for Arizona. Sharks get a power play. Hill stopped LeBanc, and then he stopped Burns as well. Aiden Hill was the story of that first period. Kessel knocked a Sharks goal out as well. So that was going in, and Kessel just bats it out with his stick. And yeah, Hill was quite the story. So we go to the second. The Sharks controlled early in the second. They picked up right where they left off in the first. But Clayton Keller, he scores at 5:49, and he went 5-hole on Dubnyk. And as was said by Nasher, taller goaltenders, you have a larger 5-hole. So makes sense, right? So yeah, that was in. And then Gabriel and Hayden had kind of a hug fight. Basically, John Hayden came in because he didn't like Gabriel kind of threw a hit from behind. So Hayden came in to, fight him, but they just kind of hugged it out, and it was weird. And then I was like, okay, so they're going to fight when they leave the box. Nope. So, Krause ends up hitting the post on a play shortly after that. There was a 3-on-1 for the Coyotes with 8:30 left. They then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Kessel from OEL and Keller at 14-16, and so it's 2-0 in favor of Arizona. And I was like, I'm going to be able to wear that jersey for the review. Hill fell onto a chance for Kane shortly after that. So I think it was Burns that threw the puck out, and Kane was coming to get it. He just falls back on the puck. That works. The Coyotes press in the final minute. Lawson Krause forced a power play with 17.4 seconds left. You almost could have argued a penalty shot there, too. And things get scrummy at the Horn because these teams are probably tired of playing each other. Everybody is. And it makes for some great hockey, and it makes for the occasional fight. Third period. The Sharks killed off the remainder of the penalty that Krause caused near the end of the second. We then get a power play again for the Coyotes. They had a lot of power plays in the third period. Chychrun fired one wide. That power play was killed off. But then they called a 5-minute interference penalty on Curtis Gabriel. And it was interesting because to me on the replay, I was kind of surprised that it was a 5, and then they reviewed it, and they said, yes, this is a 5-minute. Because I thought, well, it's shoulder to shoulder, but okay. And I don't think we're going to see director, player safety, anybody get involved, but we might see player safety get involved with a fine or something. But Gabriel got 5 in a game, so that might be all there is to it. Sharks killed off the major. Almost. As in, They killed it off, but they didn't, because then with 7 seconds left in the 5 minutes, Shimmick throws it over the glass. He didn't even really argue. He just went straight to the penalty box. So it's a 5-on-3 for 7 seconds, and then another minute and 53 seconds. So Sharks were playing a man short for most of the third period. It was legit more than half of the third period they were shorthanded. And then Kessel scores from Dvorak at 14:03. So Kessel has 2 goals. The goaltender gets pulled with 3 minutes left. Well, the only thing anybody was paying attention to was, is Kessel on the ice yet? And he was. And he scores the hat trick goal from Keller and Schmaltz at 17:28. That's an empty netter. It's a natural hat trick. So he had a power play goal, a regular 5-on-5 goal, and an empty netter. So there was a shorthanded goal. There wasn't a so there you go. Got two hat tricks on the same board, and both of them were 3 different ways that those goals were scored. So Arizona holds on and wins 4-0 over San Jose. San Jose drops to 13, 16, and 4, and that stings. For Arizona, they're 16, 14, and 5, the exact same record as Chicago. They're right there. And, of course, Nashville's right in there as well, and it's going to be one heck of a fight. Shots in this one, 17-9, San Jose in the first, 9-5, San Jose in the second, 15-8, or 13-8, I should say, for Arizona in the third. Final shots, 34-27, in favor of San Jose. Power plays, San Jose went 0 for 1, Arizona went 1 for 6. Now, the app tells me it was 3, but I even went through and checked all the goals. There was only one I could find that was a technical power play goal. Unless there were phantom penalties that the timing was off on. Yeah. Anyways, Dubnyk saves 23 out of 26. Adin Hill saves all 30 for his second career shutout. Doesn't happen often, but nice to see him get the shutout, and nice to see Arizona get a win wearing these jerseys. So it proves they're not a jinx, and they can wear them again next year. I fully expect a lot of the reverse retros to end up being third jerseys next year, and then they'll have a new round of some other kind of specialty jersey for the rest of us fans to look at. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below regarding these 7 games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.